Hi everyone, welcome to All Four Queens 555 on this Sunday middle afternoon. Hope everyone's doing well and you're enjoying your day. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the bullying campaign, as you know, and on the bottom the things that I've written, and I've put abuse is in many guises. It's physical, it can be emotional, spiritual, psychological, sexual and financial. And today I want to talk about the financial aspect of it. But before I do, let me just introduce myself. Welcome to All Four Queens, all about healing, spiritual warfare and awakening. And one of the things you find when you awaken spiritually, you hit into a lot of spiritual warfare. Now I say a lot, I mean that's probably just my story. Not everybody probably goes through what I've gone through, but as you can see on the things that I've recorded a lot about the abuse and the bullying, mainly because I want people to see what goes on in the physical. Obviously this has been going on in the spiritual realm all my life, but you haven't seen it. This is the things that I've experienced in the physical, the bullying and the abuse and the constant gang stalking and everything else, and the excessive use of witchcraft and technology and all sorts of stuff. Now, before I start as well, I have got some white noise going on in the background because somebody is using some heavy technology, hitting me there, and obviously there's a lot hitting me on the heart chakra as well. And how do I know that? Because one, I can feel it, and two, I know that when technology is being used, as well as the witchcraft, it does affect your balance a little bit, but also your eyes as well. So I also know from when I was in the house and they were using big energy weapons, I could feel it, and obviously there's somebody upstairs. Now I don't know if that person is the person, but there's definitely something going on around me. So please bear with me. I've also got a lot of people pulling on me because we are in that season of reap what you sow. So please bear with me if I sound a little bit off or whatever. It's because someone's trying to hold on to me very tightly, and there's a lot of energy at this moment in time as well. So I'm trying to get my grounding on top of trying to balance what they're doing, on top of the earthbound spirits, because obviously people have been using my energy for so long that if they're in transition or they pass, they come straight to my light basically, and then I have to cleanse them out as well. So please bear with me. A lot of information I know, but it is true. Right, so financial abuse. On the bullying campaign, obviously, it talks about all the different things. Now, I did look at it from is it a narcissistic thing? And no, it's just financial abuse is financial abuse. So, when someone takes illegal or unauthorised control over another person's money or property, common examples: stealing cash, controlling bank accounts, and or running up secret debts. Now, I tried to book this hotel with my credit card, and my credit card has been maxed out. And there's a lot of money on that credit card because I used it for business. Stealing creative content and blocking original creator. These are the examples, and these are the examples in relationships. Forcing a partner to hand over the paycheck or public benefits. Giving it a strict spending limit or allowance and demanding receipts for every small purchase. Stopping a partner from getting a job or going to school or university. Now I would say that's not just a partner, that can be anyone, that can be family, friends, colleagues, whoever, because we know in my situation someone kept phoning up every cycle and getting me made redundant, so that obviously I'd lose my job, my security, my stability, and I'd be at the lower end of the wheel, so that they could swoop in and take my blessings. We all know God gives you your blessings and you work for your blessings. So I'm fully aware that they will come back to me in some form or other. Opening credit cards or loans in a partner's name without their knowledge. Creating false businesses in their name and racking up debt. Common examples involving vulnerable adults taking someone's pension or benefits and payments. Pressuring an older person to change a will or sign over a house. Stealing personal belongings, cash or valuable items from a home. Misusing the legal power of attorney to spend someone else's savings, trust, inheritance or assets. claiming benefits that are intended for the vulnerable but are untrue. So obviously we know from a power of attorney, I believe there is a power of attorney. Now I went to try and do it on the phone, but we know all my phones are rigged, and they changed the form, and then when I went back again I could do it, and then obviously it asks for a code. Well, I won't have a code because I don't know who's done it, and it asks for the lawyer's name. Well, I don't know who the lawyer is, so you can see they've recoded it, so I need to get onto that company, but in the end I'll probably just speak to a lawyer. But the 2 lawyers that I approached told me they only work for the criminals, so you can see how it's controlled a little bit. And obviously they're trying to drain the finances as well, because someone's obviously got access to mine. However, I did speak to the bank the other day, and it was interesting. Although the call took a long time and it sounded like a foreign number, she did actually say the word audit. So that suggests to me, they said they hadn't received the letter, but I delivered it and I asked for a signature. So I will look up that tomorrow. But the fact that she said the word audit, I suspect that it's being looked into, as is everything else. So when someone takes advantage of another person's finances, it can include theft, fraud, internet scamming, or coercion related to the person's financial affairs. It can also include the misuse or misappropriation of property, possessions, or benefits, and then there's a Care Act in the UK over that as well. And then obviously, you've seen from my perspective some of the things that I've been exposed to in terms of being run out of my house and forced into hotels, and then obviously had to pay for the hotels. And also they were helping themselves to my bank account, which suggests that there is some sort of power of attorney and fake false documents around a mental health, which obviously I've never been assessed on. Hence why I suspect they're constantly hitting me on the head and hitting me on the heart chakra to make a square peg fit in a round hole, which obviously has never been true, and history shows that it's not true, because I was working and I was isolated, and I had limited friends because of the control that they put around it in the Truman Show, obviously because of the power of attorney. But I was working in law, so there's a lot of hitting there, and I would assume that's because they're trying to get the round peg in a square hole. And also there's obviously a will out there, and I need to know who wrote the will. Potentially there could be false lawsuits against me, which obviously I tried to look at and I found the courts, didn't I? Claiming that I've done something in the past, whether I've been abusive or whatever, because we talked about hidden court cases. Now I couldn't find anything, but that's not to say there's nothing there, because obviously this has been a global strategy to build up build a brand on who I am and the narrative around me, so that they could do all this. We know that there's obviously somebody accessing my bank account, and we know that there's access to credit cards, because obviously people have been adding all sorts of stuff. I mean, mine's maxed out now. And obviously I've used another one, but obviously I had to put all the details in, so I'm monitoring that, because obviously, they can't use that, and if they do, then we know who's doing it, don't we? So we know about the transactions, and we know about the pandemic on the redundancies. They've blocked all my businesses, and they've blocked opportunities to get work. I even went to get voluntary work and they blocked that. But I mean, I just surrendered that to God, because I just said, well, if I can't do service, and all my businesses are service, then obviously I've surrendered that to God himself, because they're not fighting me and they're not blocking me, they're blocking God himself. I stole the bullying and abuse campaign, and I believe they set up a fraudulent one to get money. They stole my book on Amazon, but I believe they put it on Amazon as an audio, because I kept getting a subliminal advert on that. They blocked the coaching business. They tampered with the 2 cars, and then when I went to get another car, I couldn't get credit because they've completely destroyed my credit. They've attacked me against my health. You've seen all the things they've injected me with, and all sorts of crazy stuff. And the military equipment and all that sort of stuff. And so there's quite a lot of things that they're doing from a financial abuse to try, and then obviously by attacking your health. I mean, obviously, that's just crazy, isn't it? Sorry, I was reading something. Yeah, I was just reading something there. It's like when they took the car away, I used to sleep in the car because I knew what they were going to do when I got into a hotel. All the attacks on my crown and all the heavy witchcraft that they do. So I quite like staying in my car because I actually got a good night's sleep, actually, to be fair. And then they started messing with that and putting things in that. But I got a good night's sleep. So financial abuse, I just want people to understand it. It sounds as though it's crazy, but it does happen, and these people will do anything. And bear in mind, there are affiliated members everywhere. So if they've got somebody in the bank, and I know on the credit card because they gave me a gratuitous payment back, so we know that something had gone on there. Someone was messing with it constantly and blocking it all the time, but there was transactions going on it as well, because people were using it as though they were supposedly my carer. The challenge around the power of attorney and all the other stuff is I've never seen a penny of that money that's supposedly supposed to help me, because there's supposed to be something wrong with me. And I was saying this morning in prayer, it's interesting, if you look from 2024 in my bank account, I had quite a large salary going in every month. I was on a decent salary every month and it was going into the bank account. Now, at no point does anyone ever say, well, we've got a power of attorney and we've got a mental health and somebody else has got access to your account. So that suggests to me that, if there is something like that in there and they've had access to my bank account to be able to take my money that I've earned for decades, then that suggests that there is somebody that's affiliated that's allowed that to happen for me, because they would see that there's quite a chunk of money going in monthly. Now at the moment there isn't, so whatever they've said about me and whatever crimes they've done in my name, the people that are watching my account will see that there's a lot of money going out but there's no money going in, and there's no one in these rooms with me because I know I'm being watched anyway. So so whatever they've said about me isn't true, but obviously they're taking stuff and they're maxing out my cards, and you've got to ask yourself the question, why? What is the reason for them to do that? And then obviously when I tried to phone the solicitor on Friday to get access to a potential POA, the number that I dialed said it wasn't recognised, and I recorded it because when I went and double checked the number was still active. So all my phones have been messed with, and obviously we know my laptop has, and obviously we've got to ask the question, why? What is the big fear, and why are they all of a sudden trying to create a narrative that was never true in the first place, and then blocking me and reducing my ability to even work. So yeah, but food for thought. So financial abuse, check it out, and if you need obviously any assistance, the right resources in your country to approach. And I hope everyone has a great day, and I hope it was useful, and I'm sending you so much love and peace and harmony and a lot of healing, and take it easy. See you later. Bye.